Hey everybody. Today we are going to talk about rotary cutters and how to know what is the best blade for what task. So, if you have a rotary cutter, this is probably the one you have. It might not be this brand. This happens to be an Olfa. You might have a different brand. Your handle might look a little bit different. And if you look at all the ones I have here, they're mostly Olfa cutters. That's just because that's what I happen to have. Um, that doesn't mean it's the only or best brand. It's just the one that I use the most. But what I want to focus on today is the actual blade itself. Now, the 45 millimeter blade, that is the gold standard. If you're a quilter, you probably have 45 millimeter rotary cutters. And they work great. They work great for cutting straight lines. They work great with rulers like this, where you have to slide the cutter through the slits in the ruler. It works really well. It's a good basic cutter. What it is not so good at is cutting curves. So if you like to do curved piecing, then you probably want to have one of these. This is a 28 millimeter rotary cutter, and this is an 18 millimeter cutter. And make sure when you use these, always slide it down to open, slide it back to cover the blade, okay? But these are really great if you're doing curved piecing because you can do nice tight curves very smoothly, just like that. So works much better than the larger cutter. Now the next two that I wanted to show you are a pinking blade and a wave blade. These are often sold in the scrapbooking section to find these blades, but they're great for quilting especially if you like to pre-wash your fabric. Have you ever pre-washed your fabric and it comes out of the washer just a horrible stringy mess? And it's just no fun because you're trying to cut all the strings and unravel everything. This can help prevent that because if you just run that along the edges of your fabric, it creates a pinked edge. And this edge is very stable. It's just like using pinking shears. And that will almost completely eliminate fraying when you wash your fabric. So you can wash your fabric in the washer, dry it in the dryer, and it won't be a horrible mess. So these are all great. They're really useful, good to have. I also want to show you a couple other ones. This is the 28 millimeter in the Fiskars. I'm showing this because you see the handle is a little bit different. This is a little more ergonomic. So it's the same size, but I do really like how this feels in my hand. So sometimes you need to go with what feels the best. Over here, here's one that looks like it ought to be great. It's marketed as ergonomic, and it has a safety feature, which is nice. It has this button which will unlock the blade and lock the blade. So that is good. It's good to have that safety feature. But what I don't like about this one is that the blade does not extend as far as, for example, this one. I don't know if how you can see that can you see that in the angle? This one extends considerably further than this one. And it doesn't look like a lot, but if you are using something like a slotted ruler like this one, and you see how thick that is, this does not extend quite far enough to comfortably cut through a slotted ruler. You might end up with, some cuts, but also some threads where it didn't cut all the way through. It's also not as good, I feel, when you're layering and cutting multiple fabrics at a time, which I really like to do. So this one, great locking feature, but I would be cautious about it if you want to cut through multiple layers or if you want to cut through a slotted ruler. This one, again, it looks like it'd be great. It feels really great in your hand. It feels actually a lot nicer than some of the others, but I don't care for this one because it operates on pressure. So if I hold it on an angle, can you see? I don't want to cut myself, but so you have to push down in order to expose the blade. In theory, that's a nice idea. And if you're only cutting a single layer of fabric, it's not bad. But if you want to cut multiple layers of fabric, it doesn't always extend far enough. Sometimes this drags on your fabric, so it's harder to get a clean cut. And also, this is very difficult to use with some of the slotted rulers because that blade does not extend far enough. So for this one, feels good, but limited usability, depending on what you like to do. Okay, I have one more cutter here in my pile. This is the Martelli Ergonomic cutter. This looks really strange, but it is really great. The nice thing about this one is that it is designed to be easier on your hand and wrist when you're cutting. So it does have a blade cover. You have to uncover the blade like that. And then I like to put my forefinger here, and I've got my other fingers wrapped around, and then I can cut. Okay. And it feels pretty comfortable. I feel like I could probably do this longer than if I was, let me cover that blade, than if I was cutting like that. Okay. So very handy. It is more expensive, but it is a nice cutter. And it does come right hand and left hand, which reminds me, my daughter is a lefty and she has had problems with cutters like this, cutting as a lefty, being awkward and having the blade on the wrong side. This one is definitely friendlier if you're a lefty because you can cut with it like this, or you can turn it around and cut like this. So it's suitable either way. One last thing I want to talk about while we've got all these cutters out is how to change your blade. Now, I always keep a little one of these packages to keep the used blades in so that I never throw a used blade, exposed blade into the trash. You don't want anybody to get cut. And blades can be expensive, but you do need to change them. As soon as you notice that you're getting threads that aren't cut all the way through, first check to make sure it's not your mat that's the problem. Sometimes scratches on your mat can cause that. But if your mat's okay, it might be your blade, which means it's time to change it. Your blade should just run through the fabric like butter. I have had really good luck with some of these on Amazon, where you can buy 10 blades, excuse me, for less than the price of one or two of some of the name brands. They may not last as long. I'm not sure. I haven't actually timed it, but you get so many that it works out either way. So let me show you how to change one. So we're going to kind of shove that out of the way. And here is a blade. I took this out of the package, this package. It has a little oil on it because they put oil between the blades when they come in the package. Now I'm going to take this apart. Now the important thing when you do this is to keep everything in the right order. So I'm going to unscrew that and then take that off. And then underneath, I'm going to pull that off. And the blade kind of stuck there. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe this. Here, I'm going to, should have had another paper towel here. We're going to wipe that off. This is our new one. This is the old one. So we're going to put the old one in the case. So now we're going to reassemble this. So we're going to put the new blade here. And then this piece goes through like that. And you have to rotate it until it fits. And then you put this little guy on. And again, you have to rotate it till it drops in place. And then we put our little end piece on it. And there we go. Easy peasy. And this is going to cut really well. Here I've got a couple layers of fabric, and you can see just beautiful. Your rotary cutter should go through the fabric just that easily. If you're having to push really hard or your arm is shaking, which sometimes happens when mine start to get too dull, or it won't go through multiple layers, go ahead and change your blade. It's really worth it. Now, I have to ask if this was useful in any way or interesting. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all those good YouTube things. And thanks for joining us this afternoon.